Looks a bit quiet out there today. Actually, you've just missed the action. So they had their trucks and vans. The movie crew has been here all morning from about 7 o'clock, I guess, or so. And they packed all their gear into a couple of vans and they drove away. So they're on, what do they call it? They're on location today. I chatted with the main sound guy. He was joking with me again about my camera. And he said they're over at Sensoji first this morning. Then they're filming in different places around Asakusa. So we'll be undisturbed. The movie isn't done. They're still not finished. I don't know their schedule. I can't ask them. Will you be here tomorrow? I don't know. They're not done. It could be, though. They said they would be finished wrapping it up around the beginning of October. So it could be that this might be the last time we've seen them. It might be they've done the stuff at this area, and now they're going to film on location around other places. So I don't know. But in exchange for the movie people, we have other changes. Those of you who can see it, the old real estate office across the street is under construction for the new Ninja experience. And they put their sign up yesterday, actually. It's not going to last 10 minutes. One of the kids, I'm sorry, they're young people. One of their kids, he got a little step ladder, a semi-step ladder. And he got up there and he's got some peel and stick lettering. It's on some kind of foam board, and you could see him. He peeled off the back and he went like this, pop, and he stuck it up on place. And the place where he sticks it up isn't smooth wood, it's sort of rough carved wood. And that sign isn't going to last 15 minutes the first time wind or sun or something hits it. But anyway, it says time, space, as in physical empty space. Time Space Museum, I guess, is a way to translate it. So they're pronouncing it, I wouldn't have known how to pronounce it. They're pronouncing it as Jikukan. Jikukan. Ji as in jikan, time. What time is it? Jikan, ji, hour. Ku as in kukan, space. And kan as in, this is the kan meaning a hall. It's Mokuhankan. This is our kan. So the Time Space Museum. And they have a website. It's all in Japanese. I think I posted this, chatted with the mods about this last night. So maybe we can post it here if I can find it. They have a website. Where is it? Just a second. This is all in Japanese, whatever, you can see the pretty pictures. And they have a Twitter, which is more active, I think. Where is it? Somewhere. And this is from their Twitter feed. So Karen's got it, it's bigger on the inside than on the outside. I have no idea what's going to be going on there. And when you look at their website and their Twitter feed, I don't have to think they have an Instagram, it seems like it's going to be ninja playtime for little kids. That's what I'm guessing it's going to be. They're going to be working again here, I'm sure, getting it set up. And you'll see they have a tiny little child-sized kago, which they park outside. And it looks like a ninja playtime for the little kiddies. So it's nothing that's aimed at foreigners to come and do the ninja, whatever. Okay, we're going to continue what we started the other day. I carved the veins in the leaves, a very, very simple one. Today's is the next step, similar. I have to paste down the pattern inside the flowers, peonies, or whatever they are. We also have to sharpen, but given the fact that I got to let the glue dry, let's paste first. Let's paste first, then sharpen, and then carve. And I'm going to do it a bit of an easier way than I did it the other day. You saw me try this the other day, and I got the Gampi paper that has the pattern we're going to use, and I sort of freehanded it. It wasn't pretty registered, so I freehanded it onto the block. That really wasn't the smartest way to do things. So what we're going to do today is this. I have a quick impression from the block that I pulled just this morning before I started here in the back room. I took the key block and pulled an impression from it. And now the loose gumpy, because I can see where everything is, I have laid the gumpy down in exactly the right place on top of this paper, which I will then lay on top of the pre-carved flowers. How did the block turn out? Fine. I know I finished it later after the stream was over. That was an easy one. Now this one's going to take more time. Someone's asking, paper out. Yes, the paper is out. There are 2 printers coming today. Suga-san, she's working on one of the Mystique prints. Mystique is the Japanese print. And who else is here? Dei-chan. And she's working on a group of rickshaw cart prints. So they're both back numbers, the people upstairs. Is the movie crew back? No idea. No idea. Okay, the flower shapes are pre-carved. Kawasaki-san did carve them already. And now I have to carve inside the pattern of these flowers. This question about the ninja, if you had asked me that question, say, before these people across the street got started, are the ninja thing, is it just the foreigners? I would have said, of course, it's just a bunch of foreigners with some completely strange impression of what Japan used to be and blah, blah, blah. I would have said that. But this business here, these people across the street, they are clearly aimed at the local market, not foreigners. So yeah, the ninja thing now seems to be, at least for kids here in Japan, it seems to be a thing. But for most normal, sensible Japanese people, of course, it's nothing. It's completely irrelevant. So you can see we've got the thing transferred now. There's going to be no dramatic peel, of course, obviously. We've got now the pattern. You can see the pattern. It's all these fine lines. The pattern has now been transferred onto the exact area of the flower. And it's in 3 places. I think they're peonies, but I'm not really sure. I don't know. So we let that dry for a minute and let's sharpen up while we're waiting. And the tip is, it's not wildly broken, but it is not clean. I'm going to have to use the strong part of the stone here to clean this today. I don't know, people are asking now every day about the black screen here on Twitch, and I really don't know what to say about this. I don't think it's anything that's happening at this end. I think Twitch has had trouble with JavaScript updates and stuff like this, and they are having trouble feeding their signal to different kinds of browsers. I don't know, I'm sorry. I don't think it's anything I can do at this end. Instead of balancing this, let's get another piece of wood here. The audio has now cut off. I don't know. Again, at this end, I'm showing a green dashboard. Okay, let's put an edge on this blade. With our new lazy boy technique, rubbing my hand on the table to keep this thing at the angle I want. If I'd known about this years ago, it would have made sharpening for me much, much easier as a beginner. My God. You can see the black stuff building up. That's fragments of metal. Over to the 1000. So the people on the black screen then, are those people who are looking at this through an app and not through a browser? I don't know. Is that the difference? Okay, we've moved to a 1000 grit stone here now. Lighter pressure. We're mostly now just removing scratches from the 400 stone. And as I go on now, lighter pressure, lighter pressure, lighter pressure, just coasting now across the stone. I think we've got her. Then for the back side, I can't do that on the table, of course, there's no clearance. So for the back side, up on the block. And now the back side of the knife can go flat. That should be enough. You can see the hollow grind. Look at this. The center area, it's a hollow ground. It's a U shape down. So the pressure of the stone just goes around the outside, and most importantly, the pressure of the stone just runs along the edge there. The best quality knives are hollow ground, always, always, always. So now we have a nice clean edge on this, but it's still not the fine edge we want. So for the final step, we go to our finishing stone, which is natural. No, the block, this is not the cat series, it's a dummy block. It's the block we started with and spoiled years ago. I just keep it on my desk when I need the support. It can get smashed and banged. This is not the block for the cats. I'm sorry about the confusion. It's just a dummy block. TV block. The reason I stopped carving it, someone's asked me, can we reuse it? The reason I stopped carving on it is because it was just too soft and crumbly. It just wasn't useful for the use that I was trying to do, carve these key lines. Maybe it might have been a better choice for a color block, but the problem is now it's all cut up and smashed up, and there's not very much depth. We can't plane it off and start again. So it's just simply sitting on my desk as a dummy. And actually, we've used the back of it. The back of it is going to become one of the color blocks for the Dom and Cats prints, which is still actually waiting for me to do some work on. Okay, let's do some work. Let's find the spot. And you get the idea what Koryusai has called for here. There's another block with the same shape, which will do the background tone, the pinkish tone for the flower. And then this block will have most everything carved away except those lines. We're going to leave those lines. And there's no massive peel, but I should be able to pull off some of the Gumpy paper here to help make it a bit more visible. We're going to leave the lines. This is not a negative block. This is a positive block. If I was from the point of view of the amount of work to do, I would rather take the lines away because that would be simpler. Just simply slice into the lines. But no, this is a positive block. So this is going to take some time here, leaving the lines. The hair. I need a haircut. I know I need a haircut. The lady said wait till October. She said wait till October. She'll be opening up again then. So maybe next week I'll be out in Ome and she can chop, 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 chop. Let's first get rid of some of the waste wood. Nice sharp knife. Construction supplies. The girls upstairs, they've already started testing this print. They started yesterday. And they left this block off. So they've already proofed the one that I carved the other day. Seems okay. They wanted this one as well. So they're going to be doing more testing, not this afternoon now. I know yesterday was the chance. Then the next chance for testing on this is going to be, I think, Wednesday. So I didn't finish this yesterday, but I now have a couple more days to get this done. So. Still talking about hair, whatever. Okay, get rid of most of the waste wood around here. Let's do some cutting here. This is not actually a super hard block. We have so few good pieces of hard wood that we're saving what we have for key blocks. So this color pattern here, we've just used one of our normal color blocks, which are much softer. So this is nowhere near optimal for this. This wood is way too soft. And it'll be okay for this because even if these lines get a bit soft and blurred, it's just a pattern in the middle of a flower. They're not lines that are going to define anything else. So it's more of an effect, really. But it does make it a bit more difficult to carve when the wood is so pudgy, so soft, And it also means I'm under no attempt here to make these things super fine and super thin. It doesn't matter. We're looking for an effect of veins and shapes inside a flower leaf, inside a flower petal. So this is not dramatic, hold your breath, oh my God, how delicate can we carve? It's not that kind of carving. Okay, is it visible? Can we see what's going on? I don't know. If it depends on the angle of the camera. Yeah, you can see, I guess. You can see the idea. The black lines are going to be left, giving a pattern, which will fill in the pedal. Oh, today's Monday morning here in Japan, so Cameron came back to work today, Monday morning. He's always off on the weekend. And as usual on Monday morning, he faces a big full inbox. Of course, so there's been orders and stuff that have happened over the week, and Cameron is processing them this morning. And along with that, he also, of course, goes through the main company inbox, which I don't normally see. I get my own email, of course, but then the general Mokuhankan.com inbox doesn't come to me. The orders don't come directly to me and stuff like that. General correspondence doesn't come to me. So every Monday, Cameron, as he gets back to work, he catches up on his stuff and this and that. And as part of his Monday routine, I get a Monday routine too. I get a flood or a bunch of emails forwarded over from Cameron, mails that have come into our normal Mokuhankan box over the weekend. Well, I don't interfere with that stuff. I keep out of the way. Once you delegate a job, you keep out of the people's way, whatever. So anyway, Monday morning for me too is a time of catch-up. I get a bunch of emails that have come in over the weekend. And this weekend is funny. I don't know how many. If Cameron's here, maybe he can chime in and give me a number here. I've got no idea. Maybe there's a half a dozen or so emails this morning, all about the same thing. These are all fans and people and friends and collectors and whatever saying, Dave, I just saw the British Museum. They have a new video up on their website. It's about some Hokusai books. Make them. This is great. I'm not dissing anybody for this. Many people have the same idea. They saw this. Dave should hear about this, so they send it over here. So it's great. So we get, lots of emails with the same thing. And it's really pleasing for me. People saw that British Museum video. They got the old sketches from Hokusai, and into their mind instantly jumps this idea, oh my God, David should carve and print some of these. It's not really a tsunami of mails. That would be an exaggeration, but a whole bunch of mails. He and I, bum, Monday morning. So I'm not being sarcastic about the people who send the mails. No, thank you, of course. If you yourself are one of those people, thank you for the idea. It's great. You are not alone. So now the suggestion of Mokuhankan, our team here, making prints from some of those designs is, of course, a wonderful suggestion. It's sort of, from our point of view, it's a no-brainer. The same thing happened a few years back. The Museum of Fine Arts in Boston also landed some original Hokusai sketches, and in fact many, many more than what the British Museum has got this time. And actually, in fact, quite a bit more interesting stuff than what the British Museum has got this time. And the fact that there's so many out there, Hokusai drawings that didn't make it into becoming books, it does ring a little bit of a red flag in my mind, you know. Are these really all wonderful Hokusai originals that didn't get made into books? But I don't have that kind of ability to look at the brush strokes and say, yep, that's a Hokusai. I mean, there's lots of people can draw like that, especially after his life and after he became famous. He had apprentices, he had all kinds of people who had trained to draw that style. Whatever the museum people are saying, yes, when you look really closely, you can see his vigor and life. And yeah, maybe that's so. I don't know. I have no axe to grind or comment about that. But the ones from the Museum of Fine Arts a couple of years back, they are really interesting and would make wonderful woodblock prints. So yes, this is very much an idea that is out there on the table. The reason why I haven't made such an announcement already is because we are busy. Our main work is, of course, subscription prints, and I can't just throw away our entire business model and all hands on deck for a project with the British Museum reproducing some prints from this Hokusai book. You know, I have a normal business to run here, and I can't just run my business on special projects that will be here 1 year and then gone tomorrow. We have a stable, steady business model. So it's difficult for me to simply grab that idea and run with it. Having said that, I can say that, yeah, we are talking to those people about this, but what way we may be able to incorporate that kind of a project into our own normal work. And that's all I'm able to say, not because of any secrecy things, just because simply that's where we're at. We are talking together. I've put some ideas on the table, they've put some ideas on the table, and we are trying to see if there might be a way through where we can find the working time and space and resources to make such a project, and see where it goes from there. So all I can say on that one is, stand by. Literally, I'm standing by. Let's see how the discussions go. But she did tease, one of the ladies, the lady at the British Museum who is my main contact back and forth with us, she did tease one thing that I noticed. I guess they're planning their next video, and they've got their big Hokusai exhibition up this autumn, and I guess there's another video coming up. I don't know their inside plans, other than that there is the next video in their video series. It's going to be about Hokusai. And I guess I have a cameo in there, or they talk about our carving or our work or something about that. She just sort of grinned about this. So I don't know. And when that one hits, I guess I will get again 1 million emails about it. So whatever. Somebody's asking, is next year's subscription series going to be diptychs or triptychs? Why would you ask that question? I'm curious. What do you know that other people don't know? Someone's mentioning patron funding. It's nothing to do with patron funding. The reason I can't say yes to the British Museum right now, let's do this, it's nothing to do with money. It's carving time. There's me, Chon-san, and Kawasaki-san. There's 3 of us, and we have X hours a day available for carving. And that's all there is. That's the resource I'm talking about. And even if Bill Gates opened the roof here and filled this place with money, it wouldn't make any difference in the short term. It's not about the money. It's about the carving resources. talk about London museums. Don't make me envious. When I was, my first 5 years of my life were in London, and of course I remember nothing about that. Maybe my mother pushed my baby buggy through the Victorian Album. I don't know. But after I dropped out of university, this would be in 1970. 69, I guess, 70, I don't remember. After I dropped out of university, I went and bummed in London for a year. I was ostensibly supposed to be studying music, but in reality, I wasn't studying anything. I was just busking on the street, working part-time jobs like slinging fur bales in the Hudson's Bay shop and all that kind of stuff. And I spent tons and tons of time in both of those institutions, the British Museum and the V&A. On days when it was too rainy for me to be busking, I would head straight for those two. And I lived in there. I couldn't do it now. I could have drawn you a map of the room layout of those places. My favorite part of it actually wasn't the BM, it was the V&A, a thing they called the Jones Collection. I don't even know if it's still there. You went in the front door, down into the galleries in the basement at the left-hand side after you went in the door. And it was a bunch of furniture and decorative objects in what was called the Jones Collection. I was captivated by that stuff. I never went to see their Japanese prints, of which both institutions have voluminous collection. I had no idea such things existed. So yeah, rainy day. It's a rainy day in Tokyo right now. If I could teleport over to the V&A, walk in the front door. One day, when I'm rich and famous. So he's finished his job, turns on his motor and sits there. Okay, guy. Shall we turn off the mic outside there for a minute? Outside mic going down. Right? Testing, I'm still okay. Right? Someone's asking, what are the museums like in Tokyo? They're whatever. I can't speak too much about them. I'm not much of a museum fan here. They're nothing like the stuff over there and all. Institutions like that, when you think about if you're a museum like the British Museum, whatever, you've got two remits. Your job is really two things. One is you've got to try and preserve and protect the stuff so that it doesn't get lost and destroyed. And second is you've got to show, talk, tell, whatever, teach. You know, if they just put stuff in a vault and never show it, there's no meaning. So they got to balance both of those things. And here in Japan, it's all about the first. Stuff goes inside, it's locked up, and normal human beings never see it again. Every now and again, they realize, okay, we got to show it for a minute and put it away, and that's it. And there's no teaching, there's no explanation, there's no nothing. If you are referred from another university, you can get in the back room and stuff like this. But for normal people, it's nothing. You walk through bare halls looking at sterile stuff like Western museums were 100 years ago. But the Western places, the institutions, at least my experience with a place like the V&A and B&M, they take the other half of their remit seriously. Teach, show, tell, access. In both of those places, and this is 20 years ago, when I was nobody, before I was anything, both of those museums let me in the back room. The V&A let Sadako and I into their back room. There's a table there. She pulls a big tray of Harunobu prints off, which is what I had asked to see, puts it on the table, and she walks out. And she left me there like for a couple of hours or an hour, I don't even remember. And we were looking through original Harunobu prints and Tsurimono prints for like an hour. And she comes back and, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I've kind of seen enough, but wow, thank you, And over in the BM, they knew who I was because I had a website at that time. So he says, oh, Dave, you're the guy in Japan making those. Yeah, come in. I go in the back room, they've got stuff on the table, they're talking this or that. They were really, really, really busy, so they didn't have too much time for me, and I knew, so we tried not to get in their way too much. So I'm given some prints on one table in the middle of the main room there. I'm looking at prints, and Sadako is sitting chatting with one of the curators there. And it was so funny. The guy was opening a box that had just arrived from Japan, a package that arrived from Japan. And it was some kind of old Edo little wooden box. And it turned out it was a trick box. You didn't just open the drawers. You had to push this, pull this, push this, and then the drawer would open. And he had got this thing, and he was trying to figure out what to do with it. But it's old, it's like 200 years old, and if you pull too hard, it's going to break. So he didn't know what was pullable and what wasn't pullable, and they didn't want to break this thing, but they wanted to open it. And it turned out she knew she had a little hobby box like this herself. It's called, they sell them in Hakone. Oh, I forget what they're called. I know they're for sale in Hakone. You slide and switch and pull, and she had a little bit of experience with this. So for the hour or so that I'm looking at these prints, she's having the time of her life. She and this curator from the British Museum, they're looking at this box and can we do this and jiggle this? Great stuff. I honestly don't remember if they got it all open or not. I don't know. But a wonderful, wonderful experience. And the idea that experience could happen in Japan is just not on this planet anyway, anyhow, anyway, just whatever. So 3 cheers for the British, common sense, just whatever, don't get me started. No, I know the English expression puzzle box. I'm trying to remember the Japanese expression. I can't remember what it is. I know. There's Hakone Zaiku, which is the wood little craft in Hakone where they make marquetry and stuff of all different kinds of pieces of wood glued together. That's part of it. Because one thing they do with the Hakone Zaiku is they make these little puzzle boxes. But I can't remember the Japanese term for them. I've got one upstairs, a little one. I know one of the workshops who made my cases, the boxes that we display prints in, I hired one of those workshops one year to make our cases for prints for the Mystique series. And they did a real nice job. They weren't a puzzle box, they were just a case. And he gave me one of his little puzzles. But I can't remember the name. The guy's letting his engine run. You think it's the same boy, he's waiting for me to come out. Is that foreigner going to come and talk to me again? I really don't want to do that. I don't want to make a thing about this. I don't want this to become a hostile thing, so I'm going to leave him alone. Yeah, the access to museums, I get it. There's obviously a security aspect to this too. The museums cannot just leave people there and do this, so I get it. And the experience I'm talking about was 20 years ago, and maybe it was a different world. Sadako and I, we were there in 1999, and maybe that was a different world. I don't know. So I'm not going to sit here and claim all museums should allow all people into the back room. Of course not. That's not in any way a sensible thing to say. Of course not. But there's a common sense aspect. Dave here sort of thinks he's fairly well known as a researcher, knowledgeable person about prints. So I would it would be nice if they let me in there. But just some dude off the street, of course not. I'm sorry, sir, we can't let you in there. Please look at the general exhibits. I get that, of course. Also, plus time, the staff and those, my God, they can't take care of any guy that walks across the street who wants to see their stuff. Same as here, we're going to have our own collection here soon on public display whenever we get open again. and we will have a public display area, and then we've got the rest of the collection in the back room. But there's no way we're going to be able to, in practical terms, open up everything for everybody. It's just not physically possible, obviously. This must be a different driver. I'm sure that boy wouldn't be doing this on purpose. This is not Japanese behavior. After I spoke to him once, if it is the same boy now to be doing the same thing, this is an escalation of hostilities. And this is not the way stuff works in Japan. So I guess it's a different driver, but I'm going to sit quiet here because I too do not want to get involved in an escalation here. So let's just sit for a minute and let it go. Fair enough, away they go. The show. Put the mic back up. Just in time for another truck to pull up. Is that a different truck? What's going on here? I wasn't watching. Truck City. What's going on here today? The blue one we know. Also, did you notice when I set the camera up this morning, actually it was raining when I set the camera up, so I had to pull it back inside, so we can't see down the street to Donkey. The camera is pulled inside quite a bit today because it was raining. But I made sure when I set up the camera to make sure we could see down the alley, hoping that you'll be able to see at some point somebody going in or out of one of the alleys. Okay, maybe it'll get quieter now. Someone in the stream is talking about the Kumihimo loop braiding. You're saying you asked to get access. Did you get access? I know one of the things about museums and stuff in Japan is you need one of two things. You need an introduction from somebody who's known or noted in the field that you're working in, and or you definitely need a university affiliation, and the more P's in your degree, the better. And Dave here, of course, has none of that sort of stuff. He's a guy who walks in blue jeans, and I had no introductions, and I have no university affiliation. So I was dead in the water with all museums here in Japan. For Dave, it's useless here. But if you have one of those two things, if you have a letter from somebody in the field, or if you have or you have a university affiliation, then you're halfway home. You're halfway in. But without one of those two things, you're not even going to get in the door. It's okay. They've made their decision on how to verify people and how to justify how to spend their time. So I get it. I'm not even actually really complaining about this. Just pointing out the situation. But that's one reason why institutions here in Japan, and Dave, it's one reason why we don't get along together so well. It's because I don't play by their rules, and so I understand that completely. But if you do play by the rules, if you are an academic, and if you can wave some names, do some name dropping, then that's it. That's what they want to see, and that's where you will get in. So, and maybe it's the same in other places too. I get it. They want to know, who are you and why should I bother spending some time with you, if you're not just some dude walking in off the street. So it's okay. coming along. Well, someone's asking, even after all these years, they wouldn't let you in. I have no idea. I haven't done this sort of thing recently. No idea. If for some reason I wanted to go and see the prints that are there in the National Museum now, what would I do? Well, part of it is I would play by the rules. I wouldn't just walk in the door. These people are busy. They got stuff to do. I would send a letter first, and in the letter I would I've got nobody to refer to, but I would refer to my website and stuff. I guess whatever. So yeah, if I really wanted to get in there, I would try and make myself, more what's the word? More acceptable to them. I would write first, ask for an appointment, put some background information in, and say what I wanted and what I wanted to do. So play by their rules, and I would have more chance to get in. So. And it's funny, maybe I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite. I'm being semi-hypocritical here by talking about this. I asked museums to give me some of their wonderful time, and they didn't do this, and Dave's complaining about this, whatever. Okay, but here then, as Cameron knows, if he's here this morning, I don't know, he knows we get emails and letters and stuff all the time. People who want to come here and do stuff with us and be my apprentice and all that kind of stuff, And we don't cooperate with those things, I can't say we get weekly letters, can I be your apprentice? That's not true, but we get frequent requests and people who want to be around us and see what we've got and talk to us and things like that. And we cannot simply say yes to everything like that. So I'm being maybe semi-hypocritical here, At least we do respond and reply to everybody, even if we can't do what they want, Peace and quiet outside, at last. I played with fire there and lost my little gamble. Did you see what I did there? Cutting with the knife at a super angle there to slice that off. I was a bit lazy. I was cutting with the knife here, which is cutting the lines, vertical lines, vertical lines, vertical lines. Then I wanted to trim off the extra wood that was outside here, which I should have switched to this knife, this chisel, which I did. But before I did that, I played with fire. I put my knife in here, tipped it back at an angle, and I used the knife to slice off some wood, like this. And I paid the price. Did you see it? I chipped the tip. It's okay. The very, very small tip at the end is gone. I'm not going to go back to sharpening. I'm going to be able to continue here because it's just the last little tiny tip. But I took it off. I knew I was taking a chance. 40 years still, What 40 years of experience gets you is not no mistakes, but it's that you can see the mistake coming before it happens, and you still go ahead and do it. Whatever. No movie crew today. The movie crew is here, but they are on location outside somewhere. I think they're over at Sensoji Temple. We have action over at the Ninja Place. Look at this. They're busy with their constructions. That is a palanquin, a kago in Japanese, a small size one. And I realize now, I understand why it is such a small size kago. This is going to be a children's ninja experience. It's not going to be for adults. It's going to be kids' ninja playtime. Looking at their website and looking around, it seems they get these activities, the kids dress up, and then there's a bad guy, and the bad guy is out there somewhere, and the team, a staff member plus the kids with their ninja outfits, they go and follow the clues and hunt down the bad guy and bring him to justice. Looking through their website, it seems to be like this. There's a famous Japanese TV program, Mito Komon. It's supposed to be set in the middle of the feudal period. And there's this guy who has a crew of assistants involving ninjas as well. And he takes down the bad guys and saves the villagers and makes good out of bad and all that kind of stuff. And he's always sort of secret himself, and at the end of each show, he opens and his badge comes out, and they realize, oh my God, this is who we have been facing. And the bad guys collapse in abject misery and apology. So this is sort of an RPG. It's a role-playing game where the kids dress up as ninjas, and they get out there, and they have an adventure looking for bad guys. It'll be interesting to see. And they're talking about kids. We're looking at, on their website, the samples and stuff all seem to be elementary school kids, elementary school boys and girls. Maybe they're 6, 8, 10 years old, stuff like that. I'm still a tad nervous about how they are going to use the sidewalk space, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm across the street, so I'm just going to stand and watch. But the lady next door, the bag lady, she will be very, very interested in what they do and how they use that space. So we'll see. So you can see the very, very tip of the knife is gone, but it's okay. It still allows me to carve smoothly along the edges of these curves. Where this would be trouble for me is if I was carving a crisscross shape, and I had to get the tip right into the corner to pop it out. And because there's no crisscrossing here, all these lines are independent, it doesn't actually matter right now that that tip is gone. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Tarankan can close his eyes. And actually, hontoni, it's a little bit easier to get through these curves when the actual final little tip is not there. So it's okay. Cut it like this. I can cut this in and turn the corner a little bit easier this way. I had a note on the table here about stuff I was supposed to mention or updates or something, but I lost my note. It fell off the edge of the table here a few minutes ago, so I don't remember what I was supposed to be mentioning or talking about or updating you on today. I don't remember. Anything important? Story of my dreams. The subscribe button question. There's something about this. We've got the little bot answer that does this, but somebody wrote me an email about that. It's a few weeks ago now. I don't remember the exact content. The idea about Twitch subscribing. They said, Dave, they understand we don't want to do subscriptions on Twitch. We just want to, blah, 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 blah. But they also emphasize that Dave here doesn't understand Twitch culture, and that by not having subscriptions available on Twitch, I'm not being a really good Twitch member here because I don't subscribe to the culture very well. And I sort of get that idea too, But the thing is about this thing, after this person mentioned this, I browsed. I went to the Twitch and I just clicked sort of semi-randomly, this gamer, this person, this person, this person, this person, to see what kind of stuff was going on. And one big difference between what we're doing on Twitch here and what most people are doing on Twitch is, I get it, most of those people, the revenue is an important part for them. They are a single person doing an activity, either gaming or the knitting or whatever it was that they were doing. And having subscriptions on Twitch was an important part of how they were actually feeding themselves, making a living. And it was really, it was important for them to do this. But here, for us here on Twitch, as much as I like being here and showing this and talking to us, I'm not just this one guy sitting here, trying to feed myself with this. We're actually quite well established here. We've got an organization where nearly 20 people work now. They're not all making a full living just at Mokuhankan, but well over half the people working here, this is their only income. We have an organization. We're making products and selling them in the market and feeding our staff this way. So for me, I don't want to go over there at Twitch and take a bunch of the revenue that's available on that platform from people who really, really, really need it there. There are people on Twitch who are, struggling to get by and trying to make a living and trying to do the thing there. And absolutely, I would not want in any way to get in the way of what they're doing there. So this is another aspect why, thank you for the idea and thank you for being willing to be here. But if you've got money to put on this platform, please, send it to people who actually really are here feeding themselves this way. And I'm not trying to be unfriendly and reject friendship and advance and support and that kind of stuff. Our business model is what it is. We do have the Patreon thing in the background, which has been vitally important to us. But I just don't want to be a person here who goes out and puts his hat on the table in every single last venue that we do. We don't take YouTube ads, and we're not looking for revenue here. But please understand, it's in a very, very friendly way. We're just happy to be showing what we're doing, putting back in the community the knowledge that I stole from the community over a period of 40 years. I've stolen this knowledge, and absolutely, I have to throw as much of it back as I possibly can. And I didn't pay people for what I learned, and I'm certainly not in any way going to try and take any kind of money from people for getting a chance to see how these techniques work and watch how it works. So anyway, that's our feeling on the Twitch subscriptions. As usual, too much explanation for a simple idea, but Speaking about YouTube too, another one came up. YouTube has started to flash warnings at me now. I have a browser tab logged into YouTube Studio, of course, getting ready for the next video update and things like that. And it's a place where I read the comments on the YouTube videos. And YouTube is now flashing a warning. It was, I think, orange a while ago, and now the warning has become red. And it's telling me if I don't set up two-factor authentication with a mobile device before November 1st, they will destroy my account. And Dave here doesn't have a freaking mobile device. I'm chatting with Cameron about this, and he says, well, what you got to do, I think there's an iPad in the shop there that we use as a cash register. So do something on the iPad there, download whatever kind of app they want me to download or something. Do the two-factor authentication. And every time I try and log into YouTube, I got to come down to the shop here and grab this iPad and log in. Give me a break. Complain. Here's my phone. Maybe will YouTube allow me to use this for two-factor authentication? Will they do it by phone calls? If that works, that's okay, because this is on my desk around there. So I try to log into YouTube to look at the comments this morning. My phone will ring. Yes, robot, it's me. And now I can go through. Is that how it works? If they will let me do that. I get it. Two-factor, I'm not against the idea. Security. I agree that I'm not against it. Just I don't have a phone, that's all. Just I don't have a phone. So we'll see. There must be a way. Otherwise, YouTube is basically cutting out everybody who's like older than 65 years old or something. I don't know. I saw that. That's as simple as I saw this on the BBC website the other day. I get the BBC news feed to try and keep myself in touch with what's happening in different parts of the world. And the BBC news feed had a story the other day about a woman who, after, I don't remember the numbers, this was after like a 7-year fight or a 5-year fight or whatever, she had been sued by a parking company. She had dropped her car into a parking lot, gone to the machine to pay the parking fee, and there was no way to put money in and take tickets. It said, whatever, scan this barcode with your phone or whatever and beep and blah, 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 whatever it was. And this woman didn't have a phone. And I guess this was an emergency deal. It was a parking lot to a hospital or something. She's trying to get in the hospital, doesn't have a phone, so she left her car there, ran inside and tried to do what she was doing and then come back outside, whatever, blah, blah. And you know the rest of the story. During the time she was inside, the wardens came, they ticketed her car. She went to court to refuse to pay this, and I guess it went on for years and years and years and years and years. And the idea being that a normal function in society is a company allowed to make it so that only people who have these expensive devices have access to their products and services. I guess that was the nub, the key to this thing. I don't know. I don't even remember if she won or lost or whatever. But so can a normal company who is offering a service in the marketplace, can they demand that their users use a smartphone? You can see the future here, right? Dave is trying to buy food or something. He goes in the 7-Eleven. Well, you can do this now. I can go in the 7-Eleven. You get to the counter, and the girls don't touch the cash anymore. They don't even pack it anymore. This is crazy. I put my basket on the 7-Eleven counter, and what she does is she takes everything out, beep, 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 and she puts it all back down on the counter. And I have to use my bag, put it all in the bag. Then I go to the display thing and say, select cash, credit card, Nanaco card, blah, 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 whatever. And then I feed the money in, I get the change, and she stands there waiting while I do all this stuff. And you can now pay by phone, of course. You select your smartphone, you've got a 7-Eleven app, I don't know how it works, whatever. So you can pay by phone. I can imagine the dystopian future. Dave goes in the 7-Eleven, puts his basket on there, she stands there, the machine automatically beeps, whatever, stuff like this, and it says, please put your smartphone, hold your smartphone against the screen. Dave doesn't have a smartphone. Can't buy food, goes home, starves to death. Is that where we're going to? Okay, someone's got information. I can get a Google Voice number that accepts texts for 2FA all online. Online, but just you mean through my browser then? I go to log in to do something at YouTube, and I thought the deal was it had to be a different physical device, not the same device. Cameron's on here too. One company said this isn't a cell phone, enter a real cell phone number. Cameron is also, this is another factor here too. Cameron and I both use the same YouTube account to do video editing, whatever. I upload a video, Cameron uploads a video, I look at it. So we need two-factor authentication, and does it come to the same device? So if I have it here to log in, Cameron can't log in? They must have got this figured out. John is saying, don't worry about it. I can receive text messages on my phone. That's all I need. And then can Cameron receive them on his phone as well? I don't know. I hope so. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, crap. Show and tell time. Thanks for the reminder. Hey, we got some work done. Oh, actually, look at this. We did get some work done. You can see then, okay, figure if I hadn't been talking to you, would I maybe have been finished this yet or not? 45 minutes? Okay, maybe 1 hour for this, 1 hour for this, few minutes. So this morning, this would have been a normal one morning work for me. And then I would move on to something else this afternoon. Okay, show and tell. Show and tell, show and tell, show and tell. Okay, someone's talking about YouTube accounts, multiple users based on individual emails. Okay, we'll see, we'll see. We will look into this. Thank you very much. Now for show and tell today, I'm not quite sure exactly what to do because I'm in the same position that I have been for the past few days. I have a backlog. We've got a backlog of all these. Don't need that right now. We have a backlog of these packages that haven't been cleared up. And I know roughly what's inside, but I don't know exactly what's inside these things. This guy we opened the other day, there's still 2 more in here. They could be good stuff, it could be bad stuff. I don't know what to do here. This one's from, where's this from? Doesn't say, it's a secret again, Nanda. That's Kyoto. Let's grab one. Let's just grab this one. We'll work our way through these bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. I'm trying to feel what's inside here. Oh, that's this. Okay, okay. Let's just do this. Let's do this. Was there a construction noise outside? Let's turn off the outside audio then. Right? It's the boys over at the Ninja place, I guess, doing their construction. So. Advertising. Who is this? I don't even know who it is. It's one of these secret ones. You can't tell who it's from. No idea. It's somebody who is an interest in plates and stuff. Interesting, actually, maybe. I've got no idea what this is, nothing to do with our auction. It's somebody who's doing something like they have got pages from old Japanese illustrated books, and they're showing something about either they have made plates from them or there's some connection back and forth. No idea. No idea, no idea, no idea. It's an exhibition announcement. Or they're selling a book. Oh, I see. It's a book showing something, connections between pictures and illustrations from books in the Edo era and illustrations on old plates. I guess this guy studies that sort of thing. Anyway, it's a sidetrack for us today. Let's just leave it. Oh, I remember this auction. I remember this one. It's books, books, books. We have here a couple of old, plastic, give me a break. We have here some books, and these are books from, before I get in here, I can guess, these are books from somewhere around 1850s or 1860s. These are, novels from old Japan, and they've been sewn together. Okay, we've featured some of these things before on our David's Choice. But these come up all the time on auctions here, and usually a couple of things happen. They are really junk. They are torn, they are bashed, they are smashed up, or they are way, way, way too expensive. And what we have here is one that looks to be somewhere in the middle. I picked this up because it was a reasonable price, and it seems like it's in fairly good condition. It does have some bug eating in it. But also, I got this one because there was a specific page referred to. We'll get to it in a minute. Let's go through. An original owner has taken this apart and put it back together in another way. This is 2 volumes, volume 1 and volume 2 of a book set here. And this was the cover to one of the volumes, and this is the cover to the other one. It's part 1 and 2 of, actually it's volume 11 from an old novel. And this was volume 11, part 1, volume 11 upper, which means volume 11, part 1, that would have been the cover. And this is volume 11 lower, part 2, and this would have been the cover. Domo, arigatou gozaimasu. Hi. And the 2 books side by side, you would have been able to see the single pictures side by side over volume 1 and volume 2. But the person who bought these books and kept these books took apart the sewing and took the cover off the first book and sewed it on like this so they could see them side by side. And then inside, we now have the content for volume 1 and volume 2, like this. 3 volumes. Mystery. This is the content for volume 1 with the 1 at the top, and what I thought was the content for volume 2 says volume 3. So what they've done, they've missed a section here. Look at this. Hang on a second. When I said up and down, there's 2 ways to do this. When it's a set of 2 books, they use up for volume 1 and down for volume 2. But when there's a set of 3 books, they use up, middle, and down. But the pictures don't have a space for another picture to go in the middle. So I'm curious what's going on here. We have the cover for 1 and 2, but the inside is the content for volume 1, and then it jumps to the content for volume 3. Interesting. No idea what has happened. There has been blood, a sword with blood, bloody footsteps, and the man with a bottle. What's the story? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Let's flip through. There was a reason why I bought this, because the pages that were shown on the auction page had some stuff that was very interesting. Let me get to it in a minute. Also, I'm hoping we can find a date here somewhere. Let's flip to the back to see if we can find a date. I do not see a date anywhere. It's that era. It's 1860s, 1870s, somewhere around there. If we do see a date coming up, we'll get a better chance. But look at this. They've taken the time and trouble. There's Nuno Mezuri. They've printed this. Do you see the embossing? They've printed this as though it was fabric, but it's not. It's just normal paper. We can also see from the preface here, any kanji that is anything a little bit remotely difficult, even dead simple kanji like this, have what we call rubi or furigana placed next to it. This book was intended at a very, I was going to use the word low, that's not the right word. The book was intended to be read by people who hadn't had any kind of a formal education whatsoever. Everybody could read the kana characters, the syllabary. Not everybody can read kanji. In those years too, it was little boys who were sent to school. Girls didn't have the chance to go to school so much. And anybody who was a lower working class family wouldn't have been involved in school anyway. But books like this, these are adventure melodramas. They were designed to be read by anybody at every level of society. So anytime you have complex kanji, or as I said, even the simple kanji, they've put the reading in next to it. I have no idea what the story is about. Not the slightest idea. It will be probably a distortion of some historical episodes put into dramatic form. The book itself is mostly black and white. The covers, as you saw, were color, and some of the inside frontispieces have color tones, like this one. It's got a steel gray color applied to it. But once we get inside the book itself, it'll be straight black and white. He's introducing the characters here. The names of the people are given here. And once we get inside the book, you will see the characters will always have their name splashed somewhere on the kimono. So that even actually people who don't, have some real sense of what's going on, they can follow who the people are as we get inside the book. The designer of this particular book is Toyo Kuni, which also sets it. Maybe it's a bit later than I said 1860s. I think maybe 1870s, maybe 1880s might be closer to the actual date this was published. And then in we go to the book itself. Oh, again, so she's done this. Okay, so this would be for book 1, book 2. They've really scrambled the order of all these things here. This person has put it together. So we're not seeing it in the normal page order. My God, look at the violence here. What's going on? What are these people doing? Do we see dead kids or something? I don't have any idea what's going on here. But there were no holds barred, These things were absolutely violent and melodramatic. And then the content of the book starts. And this is typical now for the pages. Images and text all mixed together. And there's no way, it's too bad actually. I said it was designed so that anybody could read this, and that's true, but the writing system has changed enough in the past 100 years that people in Japan can't actually read this. If you grab a normal Japanese person off the street here and say, sit down and read this, they can't do it. We can read some of it. We can read this in the box. It says, Suzuki, continued. And then reading down, we can read 1 or 2 or 3 characters in any given line. Hitomaro. Blah, 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 blah. Somebody can struggle to try and read through this. But normal, even educated Japanese people these days can't cleanly and smoothly read this. There's just too many characters that have changed. Remember I mentioned the character identification to show? Look, these 2 characters here, somewhere always on every person there is a character. This is ban, number, and that will be one of the characters in his name. which will tell us who this is in case you weren't able to follow the story. And she has a character also. I can't read this, I'm sorry. Is it Ku? I don't know, I'm sorry. The construction, they're printed on extremely thin paper. Let me get my finger in here. Oh, that's been repaired. This one has a bit of paper glued in the back of it to repair. Someone's taken care of this book actually too. The paper is extremely thin. And this was the picture that attracted my attention on the auction and why I bought this book. Books like this come up every day on the auctions, and I can't buy all that I see. We would just end up with just too many books we'd have nothing to do with. But this particular picture attracted me. This isn't a folded page. This is part of the book design. I'm like, what have they done here? They have printed and designed in from the beginning a fake turned page to let us see what the next page is about. And on the next page we have the same dude with his sword doing something. And I don't know, all I can guess is what they've done here, it's some kind of foreshadowing. I really don't know what's going on. I don't understand it. Normally you read a page, an action happens, and then you turn the page and you read what's next. Same as a book in any culture at any time. But we have this thing that people can do in a movie called foreshadowing. One of the people will say something and we in the audience realize, I know, that's giving us a hint about what's coming up in the future. And all I can guess at the moment, before I've had any chance to look at this even more, is here's these two people doing something action. He's pulling her sash for whatever reason, I don't know. And maybe, I'm just guessing here, this guy with the sword is waiting in the next room. He can hear this, and we know what is about to happen because it's foreshadowing, but this guy doesn't know. I don't know. I really don't know. But I thought this was so cool and so attractive and such an interesting way to do this that I put my bid in for this book, which we would normally have just let go. That's my guess, is it's foreshadowing. And that's the text from this page or the text from the next page. I don't know. You know how this works, remember? I don't know if we can see this. We've talked about this on our videos before. I'm not sure if we can see this. Let's try and give it a go. Because the text is broken up all over the page, it's difficult to know where to go. We have the box here. It said, starts Suzuki. This is where you start and you read top to bottom, right to left. Yep, it says read across. And you get to the little mark at the end here, and they've carved a little sign, a house mark. And you look around the page for the house. Common sense tells me it's probably down in the corner here. Oh, it's not. There's the house. Okay, I think maybe we've made a mistake. Yes, let's go back. Let's backtrack. I'm wrong here. We started here, we came across, and we didn't run across the page. At this point, there's another mark. Do you see it? It's some kind of circle with a black part on it. I don't know. And there we are. That must have taken us to this little text block. We read this right to left, diamond mark. You can see where we're going now. It jumps back to here. You then read this part. And I think we've got a little mark here that's bug chewed, which is the same mark as this one, which brings us across. Yes, and it says jump up to the box. We jump up to the box here. Now we continue. Now we get to the house. There's the house. We read across, and now what's happening in this corner? I don't know. It looks like this text is just simply on this page. I don't know. I can't read it. We read across here, and of course, jump to the next page. So I'm saying more than one carver doing this. There's a couple of things. To publish a book quickly, there's no way you can wait for one guy to work his way through doing page 1 and page 2 and page 3. A book like this would have been carved by a workshop. There's 3 guys, 4 guys, 6 guys, a dozen guys. Some of them work at home. It's all being farmed out. It would definitely have been a carving team. What is not clear is how much of any given one page would the same guy be doing the calligraphy and the pictures. And my guess is, for the most part, that would be different. These have all been drawn on a single sheet of paper, pasted on the wood, and I think what would probably have happened is it then goes to a carver who would do the faces. Top Gun guy specializes in faces. He does the faces on the piece of wood, which would be, we've talked about this before, it wouldn't be these two. One piece of wood is this one and this one. He does the faces, pulls it to the next guy. The kid sitting beside him gets to work on the rest of the kimono and the background lines and the dots in a mountain, stuff like this. There's no way the guy who has the skill to carve this face is going to waste 1 minute of his time doing some piece of a background rock. Absolutely no way. So at that level, we have, I think, 2 people here at least. One guy doing the face and maybe some of this, and another guy taking over for the kimono and the dots in the background and stuff like this. And maybe this is my imagination, but I think we can see that now. These dots here and this background stone are carved about as clumsy as they can possibly be carved. There's no taste, there's no lines here, it's just hacked out. Look at this. It's hack work. And there's no way the same person did that as the guy who carved this face. Look at this, look at this. Extremely careless. There's no taste in there at all. In a typical Hokusai picture book, even the stones and stuff in the back are carved carefully. But in these melodramatic novels, no way. Hack it out, chop it out, send it to as fast as you can. So there we have Carver 1 for the faces, Carver 2 for this back stuff. And then I think, and I have no documentation to do this, but I have read and understood that there were carvers who specialized in text. So it's possible then that once the picture part of this was done, the woodblock is then passed over to a third guy who quickly, he's really good at it, he quickly carves the text. I don't know, I have no documentation, I can't prove that, I just think that's almost certainly the way it was done. Then something else really fun about this, to finish this off, we talked before about this. This looks like one picture, it's not one woodblock. Because of the way the binding works, these 2 pictures are one woodblock, one sheet of paper carved together, printed together. This is a different woodblock carved and printed by different people at a different time. And look at the difference in the calligraphy. You can see this. Even if you can't read this, look at the difference across that seam. Delicate carver with nice touch here, a carver with a fat touch. Or a printer who says, let's print this softly and carefully. Or a printer says, throw some pigment on, smash it through. 2 different woodblocks, 2 different carvers, 2 different printers. But they still have to match up once the book binding comes in place. So we've got this. This guy's foot is here. And his foot is on one woodblock, and his toes are on a different woodblock. Remember, the artist doesn't do this. The artist just draws the pictures. The artist and lettering guy would have drawn what you see here. But when the publishers, it's like in InDesign, when in Adobe file, you lay out your magazine in InDesign, and you lay out left and right just as though you would read it as a human being. But there's something called imposition. When you hit the button and it goes out to the printing presses, the left and right page that you're going to see left and right could be printed completely on a different part of the sheets in the books. And after the folding and folding all happens, they end up being side by side. And it's the same thing with these old books. The designer drew this as one picture. The lettering guy put his lettering in the spaces. But the production people, then they would have got their scissors out, cut it in half, glued it together with this one from a different picture, cut in half, glued on one piece of wood. goes through the production guys, and the guy carving it doesn't know or care that he's actually carving the right-hand side of this page and the left-hand side of this page. It's irrelevant to him. He just carves it. The printers just print it. Every one of these pages has the number hidden in the gutter. After the printers have printed them all and sent them back to the binder, this is page number 6. It's not page number 6, it's sheet number 6. The next one, we know what it's going to say. It's going to say sheet number 7. So the little old ladies, whatever, doing all the binding, they fold these things up, stack them up, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, get their string out and bind it together. They're fascinating, fascinating, fascinating objects. I can't read a word of these, but the objects themselves are fascinating. If you're interested in learning a bit more about this, and I take one of these apart and show it, if you look at our David's Choice video collection, maybe somebody's already linked it here, I don't know. I take one of these apart and show and talk about more detail of it. They look fascinating, but how much sword play can you take? Swords dying, swords dying, swords dying. Give me a break. It's just endless, endless. It's the same people to show. We see the marks. We have the guy called Ban. We have the guy called Go. And the lady, I think, Ku. I'm not sure how you read that. Don't know. End of book. And then on to the next story. Swords everywhere. Is it worth learning Japanese and studying this to be able to read these books? Is the world missing great literature by not having these available as translations? I don't think so. I know there's a book out there put out by the Columbia University Press, which does have a number of translated pages of a number of these old books. And you read those things, and I tell you, it's whatever. I think the level we're talking about is TV afternoon melodrama level. You know, they just make up a story and try and keep it going and try and keep it going, try and put a cliffhanger at the end of the book. He bursts through the door and he sees. Come back next week, buy the next volume and find out what he saw. It was all about commerce. That's where we end one book, and the next one we see the same guy. Now he's swinging and the blood work has been done. I don't know. They look like great fun. I don't know. We have tons of these in our collection here. We also have tons of these in our shop. They're not online because it's so difficult to take all the pictures and get them all online. But whatever. Enough. Okay. Thanks for hanging around today. Here we go. It's Monday morning here for me now in Tokyo. I'll be back at this Thursday morning. If everything I have planned for the next few days goes well, if all my plans work out properly, on Thursday I will be carving the first print in next year's subscription series. If things don't go quite as smoothly as I planned, I'll be doing something else. I've got no idea which way it's going to go. Let's have a look at our ninja boys, see what they're doing before signing off here. Oh, somebody came out the alley. Jikukan, the Time and Space Museum. Oh, we had a nice floater. Okay, thanks very much, guys. At least I'm happy to have got some work done this morning. Hope we get a good stream. I'll be back in 3 more days, Thursday morning for me, Wednesday morning for most overseas viewers. See you then. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. Okay, there we have it. Okay, bye for now. See you soon. Bye-bye.